And Tom, I know you talked about the vetoes. Do you think there's a realistic chance we're going to see a third map? I mean, it's always a possibility. But do you think realistically we're going to see a third map with how we know these teams have been playing?
I like the sort of goal of Mad Lions to go, okay, we're going to fight you on one of your best maps, but unless mousesports really are coming in like poor form, and this has just been a bad tournament for them in general, I don't know how they're going to lose their two best maps, and this is already an absolute slaughter. Woxic and Frozen are going to be just kicking it off with a complete domination of Ivy. Hunden 1v5. I don't think anybody really believed in that. No offense, Hunden. But yeah, that's absolute domination. And the worry as well is, obviously, when you go into a map choice, you get to pick the map, your opponent gets to pick the side. So you're gambling that you can pull out rounds on the T side of Train versus maybe even one of the best Train teams in the whole world. Like that's really where we're going. The only loss they've had is to Na'Vi. And if any team can just pull out victories based off pure individual prowess and form, it's Na'Vi. So you can basically go off this and go, mousesports haven't really been losing this map at all. So I don't know. I guess, again, they've gone for their strengths over picking a map that they feel weaker on but know that mousesports are weaker on. But when you are this heavy an underdog, I feel like you almost have to do that. Rops, this is a chance to just farm up cash. This is as easy as you like already. It's been a great start for basically the three main players you want to see. Acor does have a chance to get the bomb down, but already Chris J's going to be pushing and just domes him straight away. But yeah, I think it's important as well. Frozen has got off to a relatively good start here, because yesterday, I think his stats were something like 32 to 54, which you don't expect that from Frozen. He's meant to be one of the best players in the server. Everybody else, Rops at least, Rops and Woxic were playing well. So you add in Frozen, I think they even beat G2. So if you add him in here, Mad Lions don't stand a chance.
Well, we're going to find out here. And you touched on the fact about like map choices. I kind of respect, though, for Mad Lions, like trying to play their own game. Instead of trying to take mousesports to a map they're maybe uncomfortable with, they're just trying to play maps that they are going to be comfortable with against the team that they played quite a few times out of recent months. But yeah, mousesports, if they get fired on all cylinders, I don't think there's many teams actually at this tournament that can really take them down in this form we've been seeing out of them. Into round 3, we're going to see the BAP come in for Mad Lions. Frozen again. I mean, we talked about, by the way, about how important it is to have players who can anchor out in sights. And we've seen Rops have a decent start. We talked about like Floppy as well. We saw at a Cloud9 be able to do some decent work in towards the B site. At the moment, though, they've actually lost out on Frozen. So with the man advantage, I'm curious to see where Mad Lions will decide to go. They still have Roy, by the way, over towards Ivy, so he can go for the flank, which seems to be something they were doing in the round prior, even though they're just trying to get the bomb down. And it's forced the rotation. It's forced the gamble out of mousesports to keep 3 players on this inner bomb site.
Yeah, I like this. They have weaker weaponry in this round, so they have to take risks. They have to do things that are a little bit more aggressive than normal. Woxic already tagged low on health, but he's going to get that pre-fire off, and he finds a second as well. Unexpected, considering he was on 34 HP when he started those duels. Now we're going to see the rotation back. The only real issue is Roy. He's managed to get into a pretty good position. A smart spot picked by Karrigan, though, so he can't be seen. The only real risk is one of his teammates being caught, and I think Woxic might be able to meet that fate, but Karrigan is able to actually find those kills nonetheless. Chris J! I would love to see that from his point of view, because I think that had to be a no-scope.
It wouldn't surprise me. It's Chris J, and it's a scout, right? Oh, man. That's a little unfortunate, too, for Mad Lions when they had the position of Roy right there. But again, the push out of Pop didn't work out too well for them. And mousesports get flying off to a nice 3-0 start. Even with the lesser weaponry, they pick up an SG and 2 AKs. So their money is going to be flying high coming into round 5, even if they do lose this one.
Yeah, and in this round as well, Woxic is just using this as a chance to farm up even more cash. Doesn't want to risk the AWP falling into enemy hands just yet, so he's going to face versus these pistol with an SMG and then likely buy it up in the next round, unless, of course, things go catastrophically wrong. But even then, he's got a couple of teammates with a lot of money in the bank. Tease in the early portion of the round, just going to be playing default, trying to basically find a pick off the back of the Deagles. Again, Acor has to save a little bit of extra money. I have to say that in terms of this Mad Lions team, there is a lot of talent that could step up. I think Bubsky needs to have a worldy game. I think he's the man on this roster that I look to that can be that tier 1 level player. Like, I think he's up there. Very strong individual. Also Acor as well. Like, he's not the flashiest AWPer in the world, but he's going to be the man consistently hitting shots. And especially on the CT side, it's going to be fairly important that he's able to do that. But for now, another round where an inherent advantage is shown for mousesports, not only now in the numbers, in the weaponry, and also, oh, really, Woxic? Oh, he's going to get the knife. That's so much extra cash as well, $1,500. He's sat on 7,600 after just 4 rounds, and he has only the 3rd highest amount of money on his team.
That's ridiculous. That's insane, honestly. And mousesports, honestly, looking phenomenal so far. Only 4 rounds in, but not really too much of it has been close at all. And I'm a little bit worried if we do get Chris J on the SG, how things can go for him, because you know how much he loves to use that weapon. But I agree with you about Bubsky, by the way. We also saw Shush do relatively well so far with his team in this tournament alone. And about Acor being a consistent opera. I want to see that consistency, but I don't know if the consistency is going to match up against potential flashiness that Woxic can pull out. It seems like they're looking to anchor in towards this B site, kind of leaning in this general direction for Mad Lions. Oh, a little bit of a miss nade. Does some, not too much damage. About 20 to Bubsky. And again, look at the way mousesports are defending this. They have 2 players in the site. They technically have Chris J, who's going to be getting in towards the back as well. They have a player in connectors who can easily rotate in if they need out Frozen. They've got the read, they've got the stack, and Mad Lions are walking right into a trap.
Yeah, they've got to clear Rops. That's basically the most important player already. It's a headshot on a falling, but nice work from Roy. He's going to get 2 entries into the site. Chris J already on spot, but he goes down to Shush as well. And leaving Frozen to try and trade things back. He does a lot of damage onto Acor after finding the frag. Carrigan also just lurking around this angle, goes for the peek and evens it up, but takes a hell of a lot of damage. I don't think Humden had any idea that Frozen was that close, and now Acor left into a 1 versus 2. Carrigan desperately low on HP. They do have their kit available to them. A smoke even going to go down onto the bomb, and Frozen basically has to hold this nice work from Acor to get the first, but he sprays through the flashbang, leaves him blind, and it's going to be the Ninja Defuse coming in from Frozen right in front of Acor's face. Didn't know that he was still on the bomb towards the end.
Tom, where's Device when you need him?
Yeah, need that 1 dig through a smoke.
Yeah, that's unfortunate too, because that round started off so poorly for Mad Lions in the sense that mousesports had 3 players on the site and a 4th to quickly rotate in. But then Roy pushes out upper, gets 2 kills, so opens up the site for him. Then Shush gets 1 as well. They get the potential for a big man advantage and to just hold down that site, but then they lose all their players, getting a little bit too far pushed up. So unfortunate for Mad Lions to not be able to convert that into a round, and now Shush is going to be pushed out of this position. He's going to follow the carry, just had his number read perfectly. And mousesports now back with a man up.
Yeah, that is the power of sound cues. Ooh. Although that's the power of the SG. Acor going to rip off Carrigan's head. They've got to deal, of course, with this double AWP setup. We know how powerful both Woxic and Chris J can be, but Bubsky, he's going to get his first kill onto the board by countering Chris J. They've still got to worry about how aggressive Frozen is, and Rops will catch Hunden again in a fairly aggressive position. The bomb going to be down. Acor, I think he realizes that somebody's around this corner, but there's absolutely nothing he can do about it. Rops will shut down the latter, putting them 6-0. And something I mentioned at the beginning of the game, Frozen, bit of a poor performance yesterday. He's 10-1, Jason. 10-1. And if you notice how he played that round, he was almost entry fragging CT side. Like, he was so far forward and didn't die, which that's when this youngster is his scariest. Like, when he feels confident, this is a map he's been good on pretty much all the way through his career, even as young as like 14, 15 years old. He was still wrecking face on this map. There's a reason why this map is so successful for them. It just fits their players. And for now, 6-0. We haven't really seen much of a dent made other than the singular round, which came down to the clutch.
So I'm looking at this now as what should Mad Lions do against these double op setups if mousesports is able to maintain them. And I would imagine getting Acorn up might be a possibility. Picking up the pace might be an option as well. Get some set smokes on the outer bomb site, then try to, you know, eliminate the sight lines for the AWPs. Though what we've seen from this tournament alone, smokes don't really mean a whole lot. Now Chris J's waiting to receive with Kerrigan there to assist. And well, Kerrigan just knocks them both down as a flashbang perfectly sets that up. And honestly, if mousesports continue to play like this, this is probably going to be a very quick match. They are looking just so good. Everyone's hitting their shots. They're getting the perfect reads, having the stacks exactly where they need them. And Mad Lions, they need to figure out what they can do here because they need to stop this rot. They need to start picking up some rounds. And I understand it's T side of the train, but 15-0, there's no coming back from that. Not often.
No, and the issue is they're not even really getting too much done. I think it's important they take this tactical pause, give themselves a little bit of time to talk. I'd like to see them put some pressure on the B site again, although it is going to be tougher now that the double AWP setup is in play. Like, we've seen Woxic play over that side of the map. That's why he's a little bit further down on the board at the moment, because they've only really pressured it once. So I'm hoping we get to see that again. Roy did great work of actually getting the entries. And you mentioned, Shush, about his performance yesterday. On Dust 2, he dropped 31 frags. So he definitely is playing well in this tournament so far. That was versus Virtus Pro, of course. But we'll get to see whether or not they're actually going to make that change. Because as I said, so far the A site, it's looked locked down. Like, Carrigan's been having a field day. Frozen has just been wrecking face. I think you need to try and at least force them to maybe dedicate a second player over onto that other side of the map, because otherwise, if it is just leaving Woxic alone almost to spot, that's going to be more of an issue. The only problem I'm seeing now, though, it seems like mousesports had the same idea. They've said Woxic aggressive, he's going to peek into the flames. Now, he does fall for it, and because he's normally the solo man, you can see the T's attempted to pressure, and Robs is actually going to be caught with a smoke in hand.
Timing a little bit unfortunate for Rops there, as well as Frozen trying to push up the ladder. Roy going to take him down. It looks like Mad Lions will be able to finally get their first round on the board here. mousesports, they have a lot of money to work with, but as you can see, they're backing away, trying to keep the weaponry out of the hands of their opponents. Hundred's been able to rescue an AWP, though, for A-Core. And for Mad Lions, think about this. They cannot really afford to lose out on too many players in this round that they're going to be able to take. They've lost now on 2. Can't really knock Roy too hard because he was obviously flanking around from behind like that, but now you need to not die to Chris J here.
I think once you go down to having 3 players, you shouldn't have sent any more. Like, yeah. I think if you're on 4, you lose 1, you can kind of go, okay, we're still making a little bit of money. The value of taking these weapons away, it's not bad, but you have to remember how many rounds in a row mousesports have won, and they haven't been particularly contested. Like, there's been a lot of money built up. Like, even going into this next round, you got 2 players saving, and the others all over $11,000. Even if you removed every weapon, you needed to build up economy of your own. And instead, they're now having to basically spend the majority of their extra cash just to get a full buy onto the board. If they lose this next round, okay, sure, they'll still have a decent loss bonus, so it's not the end of the world. But you're not really giving your own economy a chance to grow at all. So a little bit overzealous for me. I think maybe there's also just, okay, I need that extra bit of confidence. Let me try and finish off these players, because it has been a slow start for example, Bubsky. As said, I think he should be the star player, the best player in this side. I think he's proven it in the past, and I think they're going to need him if they're going to have a chance in this match.
Oh. I think Roy just got shot in the hip right there. Does survive, though, with 10 HP. But again, Wox has changed up his position. Frozen again, waiting for some company in towards Pop. Thing is, we haven't really seen Mad Lions really challenge out onto Pop too often. So Frozen's been just gifted this free control with really not having to fight for it. Even in towards middle, he does have some support from Kerrigan. But I think mousesports are just holding so aggressively, really trying to force Mad Lions into these tight little alleyways, which will be in towards this inner bomb site.
Yeah, they've done a great job of taking map control away from Mad Lions, but more importantly for them, it gathers so much information. They're going to know that likelihood is there isn't going to be an A take here, especially with these fake smokes that are being thrown in. They can basically go, well, it is an A. We're in A main. It can be Ivy. That's about it. And instead, it's going to be pressure towards the B. So there's still 2 players here. Chris J's had a bit of a tough time early on, but he still managed to get the initial kill. They check this time for Robs, but that doesn't necessarily mean too much. He's going to get himself a kill anyway. Chris J's still spotting, but Carrigan has actually gone down over in A main. So there's decent potential here. And Chris J is looking like he wants to fight this all on his own. Bear in mind, he's only on 13 HP. The flashbang comes through. They should know that there's someone close, but he's looking for both. He wants both kills, and Chris J's going to find it as well. Leaves it all onto Roy, who's only on 10 HP. He got legged very early on. Chris is going to wipe them all down. 13 HP, 4 kills. Easy.
So risky for him to go for the defuse as well like that. The backup wasn't necessarily there at a Frozen. Again, good composure coming through. I think they heard him run it in since he was over towards Pop, but mousesports now up 8-1 here. Double up setup coming, or being maintained for mousesports. On the other side for Mad Lions, he talked about, yeah, they'll have a buy, but you can see A-Core not really gonna have much utility to back things up with here. He's gonna be on the AWP.
Well, that's the thing,
this is like the second time we've seen him on it.
1 extra gun save, and they have full rifles and an AWP. Like that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm pointing out, is that was the difference. And the CT side, it didn't really make much of a difference at all. Oh, that doesn't get much easier than that. Just not expecting anyone that far forward. Karrigan just playing so aggressive at the moment, clearly having an absolute field day against his fellow Danes. Having a bit of fun with this matchup, and Hunden, well, he's not normally renowned for his AWPing, but I guess it's better. He's going to go down to the flames instead. Karrigan now with the triple kill. He has been putting up numbers so far this event. Not something normally expected of him. Gonna take a little bit of damage here, maybe not even realizing that he got shot from behind. Roy, again, is gonna get the entry. Chris J out in the open. And that actually turns into a 2 versus 2. Frozen misses the spray as well. And now it's going to be left all onto Robs. Did they expect a second player to come out of Pop, though? That's the only surprise that could be left in his belt. It's going to be spotted by Bubsky. Still plenty of time for the bomb retrieval. Roy looking for this fight. He's low on HP, but now so is Robs. And we're going to have to try and fight this one back, but instead, he looks to try and reset this situation as he switches back to B.
I like the Molotov being thrown in, though, because he knows it buys him a little bit of time. He's going to be coming back in towards Connector. And you can see that Roy has to clear so many different angles now. He's not sure exactly where he's going to be because the amount of time that's passed has allowed Rops to rotate back through. But here we go. Bomb going to go down. Rops on 11 health. Roy on 38. And Rops kind of has an inkling the direction he is going. But Roy's been able to actually transition to a perfect spot. Rops taking his time. Does have the grenade as well, which would be enough to finish off Roy if he can just get it near his body. And look at this, Roy has the angle. Rops isn't expecting to be watching this. And I think Roy turned away last second, but coming around the corner, Roy looking to clutch this out for his team, but unfortunately he will fall. Rops gets the timing, hits the window, and gets the defuse through.
Yeah, just, again, very clean from Rops in the end. Someone who I think you can expect almost every time will check every single angle. Like, he's very methodical in the way that he's clearing things out. I think a lesser player in that scenario would go, okay, I've sort of cleared that spot, now I'll go looking somewhere else, but made sure things ended up being very easy for him. And unfortunately, in previous positions in the round, Roy actually did predict that spot. It was so long since he'd actually last seen Rops that wasn't expecting him to be there. Mad Lions, they're going to be taking another pause. At least, as mentioned, the loss bonus is still high for them. They only won one round, lost one round. It's not as much of a death sentence as it used to be. You only lose a singular round of loss bonus, and then it goes right back up again. So that bomb plant is actually enough to get them a purchase. The worry, though, is how are they actually going to break this defense? Because again, I feel like a lot of that came down to a mistake or two from the CT side. Like you had the battle of Karrigan that was just a little bit messy. Sure, he got 3 kills. You can't really fault him for the rest of the round. Then you had Frozen. How many times have we seen Frozen miss this game? I think that was the first, and I don't know if you can really expect that again.
There's also the timing of Roy pushing through the smoke at the exact same moment he's falling down the train, so he didn't have the aim lined up for it, and he gets himself a quick double. But I agree. Like, I think that was a little bit of a fluke. You can't depend on hitting a timing window like that every single time. And Bubsky trying to push him through lower. Unexpectedly, Karrigan is actually caught up onto Hunden, gets the first kill, and Shush able to clean him up with the help of Roy in the flashbang, and Shush able to get a nice little double, but Frozen's still here. He's still on this outer bomb site until Acor takes his head off. And a second on to Chris J.
That was beautiful from Acor. Hasn't really had his AWP too much, but clearly doesn't really matter. It's another 1v2 for Rops, but he's not going to be able to connect. Bubsky doing enough damage initially to help out Roy in the battle. So they do come straight in, a fast play in towards that A site, trading effectively. Some good entries coming out from Mad Lions. I think that's something that we have to make sure we don't actually fault them for, is their entry fraggers are doing their work. Acor, I think it was Roy as well, just coming up big. I'm not sure how much of a fan I am of Bubsky just throwing himself down the ramp. Maybe it was some sort of miniature fake, but it was a very high-risk play. And again, he's not had the best start to this match so far. I don't know if that's more of a tilt play or if that was something they planned just to try and fake out their opposition. But either way, it didn't work. He's someone that needs to be utilized a little bit better.
Just look at Karrigan, the confidence out of him. He's been pushing middle, I think, at least 3 rounds in a row now. I mean, prior he got caught up by the second player in the smoke, but still, this real estate they've gained, this information they've been able to get. And Chris J here to help out on the inner bomb side. If they peek around this corner, this is going to be tough times.
Not looking like he's going to be pressured. They do have to be careful, though, because they do have Rops just on the edge of the smoke. He's going to try and use it to his advantage. Just peeking on the other side. He's got help from Chris J, and Rops has just shut this down. That's back-to-back triple kills from one player on this mousesports side again, though. Acor's there to at least trade one back, but this time, I don't think it's going to turn. Hunden left alone, and Woxic will put down the final man. Big plays coming out from Rops once again, and he now moves himself to joint top of the board in the server.
The thing is, for Mad Lions, even though they only have 2 rounds, I feel like there's still that potential chance, right? We're looking at like 4. If they maybe pull off the last 3, then they'd be looking decent coming into the CT side. But I feel like with mousesports and how they're firing on all cylinders, how they're performing as a team, I'm going to be a little bit worried for Mad Lions when we swap onto the CT side, unless they can build up that stable economy to maybe invest into the double op setup. And obviously 4 rounds is enough for some teams, but maybe we'll find out if Mad Lions can get there, and it'll be enough for them.
This round at least. Singular AK alongside some pistols. Shush. To do some initial damage. Carrigan's just going ham, but he's going to lose his life eventually. Frozen, though, doing the damage onto Shush, and Acor being dropped without much of a fight at all. It will eventually be the cleanup. But that was just an eco round, really, with a little bit extra in terms of the AK. I think the only saving grace is in some historic comebacks that have happened versus mousesports. You got it was a different roster, but yeah, it's history nonetheless. You've got the likes of QB Fire able to turn, I think it was even 11-4, 12-3 half in the major to knock out mousesports. Again, a different iteration. I remember we casted, I think it was Happy on Envy. There was the same mousesports game. That was during the major, like I think it was the ESL Katowice major qualifier for the minor. So that was a long time ago. That was over a year ago.
Is that when we almost died in the car on the way back because we had a driver?
Not really what I'm getting at here, Jason.
I'm just trying to put the times together in my head. And there we go. Woxic now pushed up middle. Frozen's falling. He actually gets blinded out. Perfectly placed by Hunden. Keeps things down to a 3-on-3 at least. You see mousesports going to be rotating back into the site. And Kerrigan again getting aggressive. He's just not being punished that often for these random plays he's been able to do. And that's another kill. Gives them an advantage themselves. And now Mad Lions can be playing with just 2 players. They have the op and the AK. And Acor, I mean, I feel like I've been able to say Acor with the op that often in this map so far.
No, a lot of their time, the finances haven't really allowed for it. They've been buying off of the back of bomb plants, and most of the time, unless he has extra cash. Nice shot from Hunden, though. Doesn't give Chris J the chance to scope. You do wonder if that had been an SG, if he'd still be standing. But nonetheless, it's going to go back into a 2v2. The issue being, though, that a lot of these clutch situations have been closed out by mousesports. You can even see it in their finances at the moment. Considering how dominant this half has been, their money doesn't really reflect that. A victory here could give the opportunity for Mad Lions to bring this to 4. The issue is, though, there's still 2 players standing in their way, and 2 of the top fraggers in the server at the moment. Is surprising to say, but, well, maybe not so surprising for Rops, even still. It's going to be a 1-for-1 split. Hunden at least, picks around. He almost gets the timing right for Carrigan, but he just needed that 1 kill. Now Acor left 10 seconds. He has to go for it. It's already over, as long as they don't die. But one of them goes down. Carrigan knows it, though. He just needs to hide. I don't think he's going to be doing anything stupid here. In fact, just waiting to try and close out the final man, and he's not going to be able to. He'll go down in the end. It does leave Chris J maybe a little bit out to dry with the amount of money he's going to have in this round. But you can understand it. He wanted to get rid of the AWP.
Yeah, 100%. And I think for Acor, that was actually a big 2 kills to pick up as well, to get him like riled up and get him, you know, pushing for some more kills into the CT side. Only 8 for him at the moment, but he is technically the second top fragger for his team, right behind Roy. And I think they're going to need that strong backbone of the AWP on the CT side. I mean, obviously taking Pistol around. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. If they get Pistol, then maybe there's a chance they can get up to 1 for him, and they can take like the next round or 2.
That's a pretty bleak reality, though, where we're talking about if he'll ever get an AWP on the CT side. Like, yeah. That is not a good storyline to be running, but even still, we do still have a buy on either side. A few more limitations for mousesports. Of course, they lose every single player in the previous round. That is the one benefit of the kills that came in. Rops looking to get a little bit more aggressive. They haven't cleared this upper position. You can't give this man this much space, otherwise he'll punish you. 2 kills coming in. Carrigan again is going to find 1 more, but once more we end up in a 2 versus 2. This seems to be the story of this match over at least the last 2 rounds. However, Woxic is well placed. He doesn't have a clue where Roy is going to be. He can guess, he can try and guess at least, but at the moment he's in a fairly open position, just trying to fall back. maybe double up with his teammate a little bit here, but this is all going to come down to timing, and we've seen Roy in a clutch situation before, very close indeed, but not this time. Woxic is going to find another kill for himself, a 13-2 CT half. Bear in mind, this was the pick of Mad Lions, and I said at the time, it's a worry. I thought they'd pick Vertigo. I thought they'd move into a map where mousesports are going to be a little bit more uncomfortable, a map where they've beaten them before. Instead, they choose Train. Now, they're going to have to show why they picked it. They're going to have a flawless CT side.
We know it, Tom. We're going to find out after a short break if Mad Lions can come back and potentially get things all equalized here and maybe go into the second map with an advantage.
I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I always wanted the world, I wanna conquer the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I call the shots in the man with the plot and we only go bombs away. And no one protecting my mind as a weapon, that's why I'ma dominate. Taking advantage of every second, now I ain't got time to waste. They all tryna sign my name, they want me to sign my name. Counting your blessing while I count that in my winnings. We take 50s and 100s and throw them up to the ceiling. Everything I envision, now everybody gon' witness. Only difference between us is I ain't stop till I finish. Yeah. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I always wanted the world, I wanna conquer the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. Savage, you've been distracted, your best my average, there's a reason for that's a fact. So they snapping back, mad at the fact that I don't have a backup plan, I ain't need that. Outworking everybody when I relax, so I ain't tripping about none of y'all feedback. Heard that, wonder when I'm gonna peak at. And that's why you count your blessing while I count that in my winnings. We take 50s and 100s and throw them up to the ceiling. Everything I envision, now everybody gon' witness. Only difference between us is I ain't stop till I finish. Yeah. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I always wanted the world, I wanna conquer the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I always wanted the world, I wanna conquer the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. Shots in the man with the plot and we only go bombs away. And no one protecting my mind as a weapon, that's why I'ma dominate. Taking advantage of every second, now I ain't got time to waste. They all tryna sign my name, they want me to sign my name. Counting your blessing while I count that in my winnings. We take 50s and 100s and throw them up to the ceiling. Everything I envision, now everybody gon' witness. Only difference between us is I ain't stop till I finish. Yeah. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I always wanted the world,
Welcome back, everyone, to our final day of the B stream here for the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2020 Masters Championship. The rest of the matches will be done over these next few days in the Spodek Arena on the main stream. And right now, we're trying to figure out which one of these teams will be going home and which one will potentially have a chance in the final of the game of the day on the main stream to get into the Spodek Arena. And so far, mousesports are picking up the pace, rushing straight through to this outside. Woxic almost TK'ing a teammate there. But do Mad Lions know that they've been able to gain so much control?
Carrigan has a deagle in the pistol round.
As you do.
Interesting. Maybe he really is having fun with this one. Trying to put the pain train onto Mad Lions, and with the bomb already down, a 5v5 retake. That's not something you see too often in Counter-Strike. They don't have a kit either, so they really do need to start getting a move on. Half the time already gone on the bomb. Rops in a strong position, and they don't even know he's there just yet. He's going to come along and steal Woxic's kill. Another one comes in for Chris J. The Hwandi coming out from Carrigan. And nice shots from Bubsky at least. I don't think he even has enough time. They can just sit back and bait. Carrigan going to be going for these final shots. It's as messy as you like. Midi eventually gets there. I don't think that was quite a 1 deeg, maybe a 7 deeg, but either way, it is going to be 14-2 in favor of mousesports.
Just so you guys get an idea of how this is all going to work out, I did mention one of these two teams will be playing in the final match in the mainstream today to see if they can make it to the Spodek Arena. They'll be playing against the winners of 100 Thieves and Evil Geniuses. So that's going to be an exciting match. That match, of course, is at the moment happening over on the mainstream. I'm not sure exactly what the score is, but I can probably tell you it's not as one-sided as this, though.
Last time I checked, it was fairly in favor of 100 Thieves, to be honest. Like, maybe not as one-sided. It's currently 10-4 in favor of 100 Thieves.
Not close. On
Inferno, which is their map choice. So, not that close. But
what side did they start on? So, probably T side?
Oh. I would assume, yeah. So 10 rounds on the T side of Inferno is not bad. No. Neither is the one Deeg, or however many Deegs that was. That A-Core just managed to get. He also retrieved an AK, and look how low these players are. Chris J on 5 HP, Woxic only on 29 as well. And they all have rifles. Now, they didn't take any risks in this round. They just wanted to try and end this map as quickly as possible. Instead, there's now an opportunity for some weaponry to be handed over to Mad Lions. They could come out of this round with 5 rifles, I know. Shocking, Jason.
Sorry, I'm getting over being sick still. A-Core's going to miss the shot, unfortunately. Looking to back off as mousesports will eventually look to wrap around this corner. They still do have Rops, though. We could push out of T mid, and Frozen's going to take A-Core down through the smoke. That's just unfortunate. I told you, so for some reason, this tournament, smokes just don't really exist. The prediction is phenomenal, and you can see Roy able to spot down Woxic.
2 HP. They should have had more than 1 kill in this round so far. Bubsky, though, he's got the AK. They're all so low. It literally could be just one man spraying all of them down at once, but the fact is they're losing their players instead. Shush with the Deeg, we're going to be coming in. There is so much of a chance. Just one bullet needs to hit onto Chris J, but he is going to survive as he gets the plant down. I don't think they will realize how much damage they've actually done in this scenario, but they've still got to be going for it here. Another shot comes in, a headshot, of course. Complete overkill. Honda going to be waiting on the cross, trying to spot them out. Finally, the USP's been brought out, but Frozen's going to hit the kill anyway. And now Shush left into the clutch. He's retrieved an AK at least, but the time is ticking. He doesn't have a kit either, so I think he's even just going to run out of time, and they're so desperately low. They might even die to the bomb at this point, Jason. But the fact is, he's just going to have to try and save this, and that is heartbreaking for Mad Lions. They deserve that round, and I don't even think they know it.
What, 25 HP between the last two players? Frozen will fall. Rops takes a little bit of damage there. And mousesports not trying to take any chances and just end it now, almost actually losing that round. It came down just a couple of pistol shots. Like you said, 1 USP out of 100 would have been enough to get the kill, then able to push in.
Bubsky had an AK as well, and I don't think he hit anyone.
He was on site, and they killed him like through like the corner of a box. That's so unfortunate for him, because the player that killed him, I think it was Frozen, was already like lowish on HP too. And now potentially the final round here of our first map, 15-2. Mad Lions obviously investing into this. Mag 7 for Bubsky. mousesports, they have the 2 SMGs, and Chris J's already taken a hell of a lot of damage here. But will they expect him this close? He's able to get the first kill into Hunden, and somehow he survived the spray down out of A-Core.
Well, at least they've managed to trade a couple of kills back. In fact, Chris J is going to Flawless left onto Frozen, and Woxic to try and turn the tide. Might be able to get a tiny lifeline here, and Bubsky finally starting to come into his own a little bit. A couple of kills in this round, but might be just that little bit too late. They have a long way to fight back. Frozen just going to try and make things as costly as possible, reduce what they can get in the next round. The T's, they're going to be in a really poor state when it comes to their economy, of course. Only 1 player surviving in the last round, Woxic with an extra bit of cash, but not anything they can really invest into. But they may just go for some pistols in the next round just because their money is going to be so bad. Frozen still has time, though. He can try and make this costly for the CTs. The issue is they now have a very good idea of where he is. In fact, I'd say they're almost certain.
Is there a world where he wins this 1v4?
I hope not. Well, I'd love to see it, but at the same time, I think that would just be so brutal for Mad Lions. Nice shot to at least kick things off. There is also the world where if they're going to force in the next round anyway, he could just save this AK. It's getting down to the 25-second mark. Spotting out Roy as well. I think the CT side have just made the decision of, okay, he's been kind of good at killing people today. 20 kills, 7 deaths. Let's not overface. And eventually Bubsky is going to pick him off. A triple for him. Not something we've been able to say too much so far. And now, this is what I mean. Like, look at that T-side economy. It's so bad, they're actually just going to take a bye. And it's understandable.
I mean, with the way they've been playing, though, Tom, I would still be very afraid of them if I was Mad Lions. Even with just the scout and the deagles that we've been seeing.
You can't not be at this point. Like, they've battered you so hard that you kind of have to go, yeah, that we can't really get complacent at any point. Like, even if they now win 10 rounds in a row, they're still going to be on edge. If anything, they'll be even more on edge, because knowing that it could just slip away. No change for Karrigan, of course. Hugely aggressive in his initial plays. Frozen with the dirty Deeg. He's actually going to be able to retrieve a rifle, but Bubsky, I'm liking this. He is starting to gain some confidence. And Acor even going to peek in to help out his teammate. We'll leave Woxic all on his own. This would be incredibly impressive if he managed to pull this one off. And I have my doubts. That's a nice shot to kick things off. They're still, again, making things costly. I don't think he's even realized the man is up there and hits the tag, but won't get the kill. 15-4. A couple of rounds in a row now for Mad Lions, and once again, there's going to be no money left for mousesports.
Now, my question is, does Shush drop an op over for Acor? Or do they even want to actually know? No need to invest into it. They know mousesports is going to be saving anyways. Keep the SMG for Roy, the FAMAS as well for Acor. Hopefully build up some money, get Acor that AWP, and maybe start to stabilize here again. Just one round would obviously take us over to Dust 2, which is mousesports' choice of map. And I think for Mad Lions here, coming back from this, I mean, 11 rounds straight is going to be near impossible, but I think it's important to the mentality of the team to take a couple more rounds here. You know, get some clean kills, kind of shake off this this one-sided map so far, and then go into map 2, hopefully with a fresh start.
Definitely not lose to Glass. Definitely not lose. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Bubsky. Again, another 3K for him. This was a nothing round, though, from mousesports, and they still managed to get 2 kills, so at least they'll finish things off with an extra one. Should be able to retrieve another rifle as well. So I'm going to get rid of the SMGs, and that's about it. Acor could afford to get his AWP in as well. In fact, I think he was even dropped one over just to make sure that he can have all the utility he desires. But this is where things are going to get that little bit tougher. As said earlier, there have been things in the past where mousesports have thrown away massive games, but I like this iteration. I find it so much more unlikely of the team because they've got players that can just win them rounds off individual basis. I don't think they get as tilted as the last roster that was there. I'm not expecting a QB fire major situation where they pull it all the way back and mousesports look like fools at the end. I would be very surprised. CT side though, as the almost cliche has to be brought out, they've just got to take it one round at a time, Jason.
mousesports have slowed the pace down. Look at this. 3 players going to be sneaking in towards the inner bomb site. Fake smokes being thrown in over towards outer. Just getting the kill on Karrigan.
He dropped the bomb, so they know that's a fake. Like that fake might have worked if he'd killed any other player, but because he'd seized the bomb, they can now know that those smokes aren't going to play any part in this round. They're just early fakes, and that's actually completely ruined mousesports' plan, because now they have 2 Molotovs to try and get into either of these sites. No matter which it is, that's going to be impossible.
Let's see, though. Roy holding the angle. Oh, shipped down to 79. Not too much damage, however, as we do have, looks like Rob's over towards Pop, ready to rotate in if they need it, but Hunden's there, anchoring on the site, gets the first kill. Bubsy's going to have a lot of competition coming his way as he takes his own, and mousesports, as cleanly as the round starter, they've been wiped out here by Mad Lions. Bubsy getting 2, Shush, Hunden, and Roy getting 1 apiece. So they still hold on. 6 rounds now on the board for them. Still have a long climb back into this match, but like you said, taking it a round at a time.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, that's for sure. But that round basically fell apart the second that Karrigan died with the bomb, because everything they were planning was, okay, we fake the smokes in and then we go barreling into the A site. 2 players would have gone in as maybe a bit of a fake and tried to wrap around at the end, but because the B site saw the bomb, they can go, okay, well, we're not going to rotate anyone because of these smokes. We'll just stay where we are, and things became fairly easy because there was only 2 Molotovs to try and take the site. So this round, few pistols, couple of flashbangs, a Molotov for the connector, I would imagine. I don't think that's going to be the classic onto the bomb. Nade going to do a little bit of damage. There goes that Molotov, and while so far so good, Bubsky really has stepped up over the last few rounds. Extra kill for Woxic at least. He's going to retrieve an AK, but he will not get this plant.
I got a little scared there. I'm not going to lie, Tom. If that was me saying that, Bubsky probably would have died. And Woxic would have
and then he would have planted the bomb.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go now. Back to the bot for mousesports. We got Woxic back on the AWP. We got the SGs as well. And this is where it's going to come down to testing the true metal, the true grit out of Mad Lions. You have to be able to defend against these gun rounds, looking for some clean kills themselves. Bubsy's going to pick up the AWP. I haven't really seen him with this weapon so far on the map, and I'm not sure if it's going to really fit the style he's been playing the map, because he's been very aggressive. He's been doing like Kerrigan-esque kind of plays in mid, pushing up, getting aggressive, looking for a fight. But let's see if it can work out for him this time. He's going for the upper peak and going to be spotted out, knocked down to 41 health, and he should be able to escape from this.
It seems like more of a situational ult picked up, and it hasn't really worked out, at least initially. Obviously, still having an AWP means that him being a little bit lower in health is not going to be the worst thing in the world. A-Core looking for that peek into main. He basically has this part of the map sectioned off. Hunden actually starting to take a fair bit of damage in return, so can't really keep this angle anymore, and it means that mousesports are going to be able to gain some map control in the form of Frozen. Still going strong. Bubsky trying to support from the site. In the meantime, however, we're going to start to see this rotation now. Any footsteps will give the game away to Roy, who's wasting in pop. But instead, we're actually going to see the fallback of Shush. Nice work from Bubsky to at least get that initial, but now this fake comes in. Almost a similar situation to the last round, but it has taken maybe just that little bit too long. They've rotated a second player in at this point. Nice shot from Carrigan, going to get the opener in and leave Shush alone. He at least needs one, and he even gets it and fades away. That's important to say the least. He's even waiting to see what Chris is going to do, but slightly missed the timing. Still manages to get the frag.
Kerrigan needs to buy time. Wox is trying to rotate in through halls, trying to help support him here on the site. No one's flanking from the back, so now Kerrigan doesn't have to worry about this position. And Wox is going to come around right down towards lower, takes down, or gets taken down, sorry, by Hunden. Now Kerrigan alone in a 1-on-3, trying to clutch us out for mousesports, but he won't have the opportunity. And Shush really coming up big for his team there, with Bubsky falling relatively early on the push in towards the site. He's able to pick up the 3 kills they needed and keep Mad Lions alive.
Yeah, we're starting to see some decent rounds, decent plays coming out from their players. And as you mentioned, even if this still ends up just being the closeout from mousesports, they get that final round onto the board and we go, okay, well, it was just like a fake comeback. At least it will give them some confidence individually. Like Bubsky has gone from, I think, like 5-14 to 22-18, which is a massive turnaround. Like, that is a ridiculous turnaround, in fact. But it still just takes one round, and that's the real worry. Like, we've even seen some 1-deeks coming in every once in a while. We've still got players performing on the mousesports side. We're going to just utilize a little bit of utility to try and gain some control over pop, and it's looking like just a full execution of nades. Only the weaponry isn't there to back it up.
Oh, okay. Chris just pretty much gone straight out. There's going to be Roy up in towards CT Heaven here. He's going to have some work coming his way. He's going to need some assistance as well. Frozen at long range with the Deagle looking for something. The bomb has gone down as he's spinning around in circles. And mousesports not a bad round so far, to be honest. 4-on-4. They saw the pistols. They're actually going to push through the help of the smoke. And Chris J again pushes through, gets himself another kill. That's onto Hunden and Roy and Shush. Now just Shush alone. And that's going to do it. Off pistols, mousesports will finally close out the map at 16-8.
As said, at any point could come one of those rounds where mousesports just close out the game and you're kind of sat there staring, saying, I don't really know how that happened. Good performance from them in the end. Great CT half, pretty much unbeatable. And I believe we throw this right to a break, don't we?
Yeah, and when we come back, it'll be Dust 2, and we'll see if mousesports can take the series 2-0, if we'll be heading to a third map. We'll see.